Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your time zone or where you're watching me from currently. I still remain Mr. Egwuatu, your real estate professional consultant. And I keep giving you updates on real estate investment opportunities across the nation of Nigeria. I keep educating you on all the things you need to know about real estate investment. And today, I'll be taking you through something very, very crucial, and it's one of the topics I want you to listen to. Give yourself to ask when expecting or viewing a property. Whether you are expecting or viewing for personal use or for investment purpose, it is very, very important to ask the right questions to avoid legal issues, financial losses, or even future regrets. Just like we have so many people that regret why they buy a particular property. And now, because of this, I will be giving you key questions that you must ask whenever you want to go and inspect or whenever you are viewing or inspecting a particular property. Number one is ownership and documentation. And this is where you ask questions like who owns this particular property. It is very, very important that you know the owners of the property you want to buy. How can you be buying a property without knowing the people that owns the property you want to buy? The next thing is what title documents are available for this property. Talking about CFO, lead of assignment, survey plan, allocation letter. These are important things to ask as a question when you want to go or when you are already inspecting a particular property. The next thing to ask is the land or property free from every known government acquisition or dispute. This is very, very crucial to ask. And is there a registered survey or deed of assignment on this land? It is very, very important that you ask these questions. I've seen so many people getting their fingers burnt because they didn't pay attention to ask this question. Not that they didn't go for inspection, they went for inspection, but they didn't ask the right question. You can ask also, can I verify the documents with the relevant land registry? It's important to ask this question. And any feedback you get asking this question will give you either red flag or to proceed. The next thing is legal and registry. Now this is where you ask, are there any existing legal issue or court cases related to this property? Now the property that you will see them have court case, court judgment and all that. This is where you ask a detailed question to be sure that the title of that property is perfected. Now you ask, is the property approved by the town planning authority or state government? These are the questions, these are not common questions. I know people don't really understand it, but that's why I'm teaching you today. That these are the crucial questions to ask. Another thing to ask is, are there any encumbrances? Talking about debts, talking about claim, talking about liabilities on the property. This is very, very important that you ask them as a question, especially when you are buying a house. Now, another thing to do is physical inspection and condition. This is now where you talk about the boundaries, alright, the demarcations and beacons on that particular estate. Don't just go there and say, hey, they have the estate here. Yeah, they are fencing and all that. You need to ask questions about that boundaries, talking about the beacons and everything around that particular property. And then another thing very crucial to ask is the flooding, the condition or erosion. Is there any form of flooding or erosion in that environment? What is the topography of that land? This is very important to ask this question. And then another thing to ask is, are there any ongoing developments or nearby infrastructure? Alright, now this you might not necessarily ask them because when you are going to inspect that property, I believe you are seeing the road, you are seeing where you are passing through, so you can understand whether they are there. But for property, there are some infrastructure that you don't know about, you can ask whether it's coming. If development, what is the condition of the building? Roof, plumbing, wiring, and foundation. That's for those that are buying house. These are things you pay attention to. Alright. Now the neighborhood and accessibility. What kind of development or properties are nearby? You pay attention to these. You can ask the question and you can also see it when you are going to view the property. Okay. The another thing to ask under this is the area secure and safe. Now you talk about the crime rate. There are questions that are very prone to crime. So you ask questions, you ask the neighborhood, you ask people in that environment. This is not everything. You mustn't ask the real estate company on this because sometimes they will lie to you. Alright? You ask about the road accessibility, especially during the rainy season. Hey, this one is important to my brothers and sisters. During the rainy season, especially here in Lagos. Is there proximity to school, markets, schools, or public transport? Now, if you don't want to be stranded, especially if you don't have your own mobility at the moment, You need to find out all these things before buying property. It's very, very important. Financial consideration. Now this is where it takes me to where you ask about the financial commitment. What is the full cost, including agency fee and legal fees? Now, if you are buying a house from developers, so if you're very real estate company, you pay attention to documentation fees, you understand, and the whole package of that particular property. Is there price negotiation? What is the payment structure? Please, it is very smart and advisable that you ask about the payment structure of any property you want to buy, so you can ease yourself from any stress or struggling. You ask if there are hidden charges, if there are levies to pay. Know about it before buying any land. Okay? Now, for future use and development, you ask for the zoning type. Is the property you want to buy, is it a residential, commercial, or mixed-use property? Or even in most cases, agricultural property. You ask for the zoning type. It is important though, so tomorrow government will not come and demolish what you are building and say that it's meant for agriculture. Are there any government plans, for example, road expansion that will affect the property? We've seen this happen over and over. So people property being demolished, people land being taken because they didn't study this zoning and understand the government plan about expansion of road, and they've gotten their property lost. Don't be that person. Is it possible to resell or lease easily in the future? Now, it's not about buying property, but can you resell your property? These are questions to ask. It is very, very important that when you want to buy a particular property, you pay attention to all the things I've listed for you here. When you pay attention to all these things and get them ticked right, then you can proceed.